iti dharayan. Okay, all together. Pralabam vishwajan grihan nimishan nipi indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayam. Okay, so what happened here is God is saying all activities goes on. The men of selfless action or dedicating all their action to God, who knows the truth, think I am not doing anything, right? So the person is saying I'm not doing anything. This is an enlightened person. Even while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, going, sleeping, breathing, speaking, excreting, grasping, opening and closing their eyelid, believing that the sense rest in the sense object. So that's all the meaning of the whole slok, 8 and 9th together. So what God is saying, that this person who is self-realized means who is doing the selfish action, which is doing the karma yoga. We are keep talking about the person who is doing karma yoga. The person that doing karma yoga doesn't feel like he is not feel. I would say doesn't think that he is doing the action. He doesn't take it that he is doing the action. All these actions are going on. What God is saying, that like even asking that opening and closing of eyes, he's not doing it, and which no, we are not doing it. It happens by itself, right? But even talking, speaking, walking and everything, he is not the one who is doing it, because it's a karma yoga dedicated to God. So when you are walking and when you do karma yoga, what do you think that when you are walking, how can you dedicate that to God? What would karma yogi do? God is helping me walk, or thank God for giving this motor activity, or thank God for giving us leg, or I am walking to your temple, right? All the walks is reaching to you. Every walk I do is step towards you, God. If we put that way, what happens is the walking become karma yoga. So the karma yogi do walking, talking, speaking, everything is dedicated to God. Then what did he see or think? He is not doing any action. So who is doing the action then? Who is doing the action? God is doing the action. Or if you say that if we are doing the selfless action, then what happens is all the action is done by somebody supreme, right? Over me. Who is doing all this action? I am not doing it. Some actions we know we are not doing it, like opening and closing of the eyes. We don't do it, right? Do you have your heart beating? Do you do that? Your heart beats. Are you taking the heart and beating by yourself? No. Digesting the food, do you do it? No. Lot of actions we don't do it, right? If if this control gets into your hand, what's going to happen? If God says, okay, run your body by yourself one day, I am quitting. I have done so many years of this job, I am quitting now. I am not going to do any of your body actions. You do it by yourself. What's going to happen? You die within few seconds, right? It's not, we cannot control it. So we know lot of action we don't do it, but some actions we think we are doing it. I'm taking this glass, I'm drinking water, I'm teaching you guys, right? These actions I'm doing it, right? The person who is not knowledgeable, who doesn't do karma yoga, what is he gonna think? I'm doing all these actions. But when I see that if I have to put it as a karma yogi, what I would think, I'm not teaching. God is helping me teach you. I'm not doing that, right? So when I dedicate this class to God and I say Krishna Arpanamastu, then what I will say? That whatever I'm speaking, whatever I'm doing, I'm surrendering it to you, right? So I will tell you that when we say that, hey, we got this body and mind, and Sonal aunty, you kept on saying that this is not yours, this is not yours, the mind is not yours, this is not yours. So who is it? Whose is it? Right? So if we keep in mind that God gave us everything, that's God's tools, right? God have to use these tools. God gave us these tools, right? The body, mind, intellect, everything is given by us. Did you pick that I want to pick this body, I want to pick this mind, I want to pick this brain? Did you do that? I want to pick this house to get born into. I pick this this thing for to become my mom, dad, should be these mom, dad. You never picked, right? And none of the those were important decisions, right? Coming to somebody's house as a kid, it's the biggest decision in all your life. Whatever decision you make, nothing can be bigger than this. But did you take that decision? Did you even have a vote to do that decision? You did not, right? So the decision was taken, the most important decision was taken by somebody else. You did not take it, right? So all the other decisions are very little decisions in compared to this one. This was the biggest one, right? We are brothers, sisters. You did not pick it, right? So if you look at it, lot of decisions, we don't make it. It happens, right? So if we, whatever little decisions that we make, if we deliver that as if we surrender it to God, then how easy it becomes, because we will start liking it. We will start loving it, and we will start, adoring it and trying to do it. So that karma yoga thing helps us a lot in doing this. So now what God is saying, that all these activities that this person does, a karma yogi does, it does not he does not think that he is doing it. What will he think? Now we will, God doesn't say in this shlok, but we know the answer, right? So these ones are not done by them. All these sense and motor activities, organs, that activities are doing, that is not done by that individual. He will think that God, I'm surrendering it to God, and God is helping me do it, right? That comes into the role. You got it? Now if you even look at the taste, if you get to the, we are doing all these actions that we are I am the one who is tasting everything, or I am the one who eats, and I am the one who does everything. Then what happens is, then that I with the body mind stays with you. Then the ego comes, right? All these comes, and then you become an egocentric person, right? Because I am doing everything. This person, now if he is not saying that I am doing everything, then what happens is, then the ego goes away. The egocentric person is no longer saying that it's me who is doing it. Then everything goes like that, God's grace, right? With the God's grace I am doing it. With the God grace this is happening. With the God grace then you start liking everything. Look into it. Do this in your life. I'm telling you, experiment it. The thing that you don't like at all, you hate it, you don't like it, you are like, this is the worst thing in my life. Start putting God in that work or that thing. What's going to happen is, you will start liking it. The rag and dvesh will go away, right? So that's very important. So this is what God is trying to say. So you remain detached from these external activities. When this kind of person says, and he says that I'm not doing all these actions, then you get detached from all those activities, and detached to the main thing is results of the actions. That's the biggest thing, right? So you got that. So that was 9th and 8th and 9th, right? So let's go to next sloka, which is 10th. Okay, where am I am right here. Okay, you ready? So sloka number 10. You ready? Who's singing? You want to?
Kamya adhyaya karmani
Brahmanyadhyaya karmani
Sangam Tvatta Karotiya.
Sangam Tvattva Karotiya.
Lipyate na sapapena.
Lipyate na sapapena.
Padma patram ivam vasa.
Padvam patramivam vasa. You got it, guys? Let's do all together. Brahmanyadhyaya karmani sangam tvattva karotiya. Lipyate na sapapena padmapatramivam. So he says, he who perform action dedicating to Lord and not attaching to the action or results of the actions are not touched by sin as lotus leaf not touched by water. Right? So again, he is explaining in a different way now. The action that you dedicate to Lord, that you dedicate all your daily action that you dedicated to Lord, what happens is then those actions are not touched by the sin. Right? Now you will say, okay, it means that I can do bad action and take God's name. I'm saying I'm cheating. God, I'm dedicating this cheating to you. Right? And the sins will not touch you. Right? When you think, when you are devoting it to God, tell me as you guys, like you 8-9 of you guys, tell me, would you be able to dedicate that thing to God? Would you be even thinking about dedicating that part to God? Right? You are little kids right now. I feel like you are very little. In my experience, like the experience that I have, it you don't have any kind of experience yet. You are just 15, 14, 13, 10, 11-year-old kids. You don't have any experience. We have experience of 40 years, 45 years, 50 years. You don't have that, right? And you are saying, I'm not gonna dedicate any wrong action to God. Right? You guys are saying that. So think about it. None of the person who will dedicate anything action to God will do a wrong thing. Right? So, but God still wants to confirm that to people who are learning Gita, that if you dedicate any action to God, you will be not touched by the sin. Right? He is saying that superficially you will not touch by the sin, but he will say you will not even do the sin. Right? Nobody will do the sin. When they are dedicating everything to God, they will not do the sin. And what he is saying, that it is like the lotus leaf. Lotus leaf born, die, live on the water. But the greasy cover of the water, of the lotus leaf, it doesn't let it get wet. So all his life, or all its life, of lotus leaf is on the water, right? Touching the water, right? The lotus leaf touch the water, right? They cannot even survive without the water, but they never get wet. The water cannot touch them, right? The same way, the person who is doing the karma yoga, sin cannot touch them, right? You got it? So that's what God is trying to explain it. The lotus leaf cannot get it. So a sannyasi means the person who is doing karma yoga and not having desire, right? It's the same one. So like that, live and die all his life without attachment, right? No attachment. But then the person enjoys and have a bliss and peace, right? Free from sin, free from mental agitation, because there is no desires and there is nothing. So yogi and sannyasi enjoy that peace without sin, right? Enjoy their life without sin. That's what it is. Now you have to dedicate physically, intellectually, and mentally. All three work has to be dedicated to God. That's what the Karma Yoga does, right? So make sure that the person that we are talking about, remember, it's not all the action, it's the person who is doing Karma Yoga, right? Okay, so that was a simple slok. We can move on to slok number 11. You ready? Who's ready? Sean, Krish, Sean? Who? Krish, go.
Kayena manasa buddhya
Kayena manasa buddhya
kevaler indriyerapi
kevaleraindriyerapi
yogina karma kurvanti
yogina karma kurvanti
sangam tyaktvatma suddhaye
sangam tvattvana suddhaye. Together. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalerapi indriyerapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam.
tyaktvatma suddhaye.
Okay, now again he is talking about furthermore the same line, like he is talking about the karma yogi. So the person who does the selfless action or devote the action to Lord. So those are the same kind of person we are talking about, the karma yogi. The person who is doing selfless action or devoting all his action to God, giving up all the attachments. So all the attachments are giving up, perform action with body, mind and intellect and senses, right? So he's performing all the action with body, mind and intellect action for purification of the mind, right? Write that down, Raja. What?
Purify mind.
No, this verse 11. What did I say? What did I say for verse 11?
They abandon attachment with body, mind, and intellect, and even with the senses, just for the purification.
Okay, write it. What I say? The person who is doing karma yoga, the person who does the karma yoga or selfless actions
So without attachment.
without attachments, right? Perform action by their body, mind, intellect and senses for purification of mind.
That's the right.
Did you write it though? We can read it from the book. Anybody can read it from the book. So you don't need me for that. You can read it from the book anytime. You can open the book and read it. Kayena means by body. Manasa by mind. Buddhya by intellect. Indriya by senses. All these actions that are done by these four things, right? They are for purification of the mind. So when you dedicate all your action to God, what happen is all these action done by hand, like I'm doing by body, right? I'm looking at you by my eyes. I'm talking to you by my voice, by my mouth. I'm writing it on the board by my hand, right? All these actions that the karma yogi does, right? You guys are listening, right? You guys are writing in your notebook, or you guys are reading it, right? All these actions that you are doing with your body, with the intellect you are understanding it, right? With the mind you are thinking about it. With the senses, I'm using my eyes, you are using your eyes, right? Motor organ, we are using our hands. All these actions that we are doing it, when it's a karma yoga, what happen is it goes towards performance of the action, becomes purification of the mind, right? So we talk about that. Always karma yoga do purification of mind, but don't ever think that there is only these actions. When I do morning puja, I sit down. When I do evening puja, those are the karma yoga. I'm doing those actions and those are devoted to the God, and now I have done my thing. That's about it. That's not it, right? That's not it. When Karma Yoga does every action to surrender to God. So when the person does it, then if you are walking, you are saying surrendering it to God by thanking for God to give us these legs or more motor activities, or thanking God or thinking about it that whenever I walk, I'm coming towards you. I'm coming towards your temple. That's how it's become. So all these things, when you start any work, you dedicate it to God. When you end any work, you dedicate to God, right? When you start doing a homework, just start with a prayer. Or even if you cannot do a prayer, just say, dedicating to you, God. I'm remembering you. And the work, dedicating it to you, God. When that comes, automatically what happens is the mind start getting purified. You will not realize it. You will not see it. Nobody surrounding you will see it. Your mom, dad will not say, oh, you are getting purified. I can see that. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, right? But what's going to happen is slowly, the process is going to be slow, but it's going to happen. And then at the end, everybody will see the changes, and you start feeling the changes first. You start feeling that you are staying happy more often. You are not having this rag and dvesh. Likes and dislike is not bothering you anymore. Slowly, that's going to start coming. But also we need to remember, we are not looking for a big change, right? And your parents should not be looking for a big change. Oh, my kids are going to Gita class, they should change. They should do all the good things. They should be the best kid. That's not what they are looking for, right? They should not be looking for that. If they are looking that, I would say that's not the right way to look at it. What's going to happen is, it takes ages, it takes births after birth to get to the next level, right? But slowly with little steps we can start moving it, right? Dedicate one homework every week to God. Then you know what's going to happen is, every homework you will start dedicating it to God. Slowly that practice will start coming, and what happens is, more and more you start doing it, more and more purification of your mind will come. Your thoughts will be clear, right? There will be no confusion what is right and wrong, what is good and pleasure. The clarity of thoughts will start coming. That's the best thing. When you start seeing the the impact of your Karma Yoga, will be the first sign you will see is clarity of thoughts will start coming. You will know what is right for you, what is good for you, and you will leave at that, right? So that will come, and you will not be confused whether I should put this or pick that, what should I do. It's so confusing. It will not be like that. You will say, and then sometimes when this confusion comes, what does Karma Yogi do? Karma Yogi leave it on God and say, God will do whatever is good for me, right? When sometimes a lot of people ask that, give me that, give me this, give me that. The body didn't even come with your choice. Why are you making the choice for yourself and asking God, give me this and then I will be happy? God knows what's gonna make you happy, and God will give it to you. Don't worry about it, right? So don't go to God and say, this is good for me, give this to me. Like, you will give this to me and I will be happy, right? I'm praying for you to give me good grades. I will not study, but give me good grades, right? And God will not give you good grades, and then you will say, there is no God. There is no God. They didn't even ask me. God is not giving me anything. I pray so much and God doesn't give me. That's not good for you. That's why God is not giving you. God knows what's good for you. God will give you what's good for you. So always when you pray, say, God, give me what is good for me, what you think is good for me. That's what Arjun did in this chapter. Initially what he said, tell me what's good for me. God, you tell me what's good for me. Right? So that's what Arjun said. And then God tells him what's good for him. He's saying renunciation of action is not good for you. Karma Yoga is good for you. You do that. Right? The same way, when we pray to God, we say, God, give me what's good for me. You know better than me. You gave this body. You gave this mind. You gave this intellect. You gave everything to me. You know what's good. You gave me this place to live, right? So you know what's good for me. So that's what you give it to me, right? So that's where, and that's what he says in Shlok 11. That all these things are used as a tool, the body, the mind, the intellect, the senses are now used as a tool to do God's work. Right? So that's what Karma Yogi do. Am I running out of time? I am? Okay. Let's close to Shlok number 11th, right?
Yeah.
So next week we will start with Shlok number 12. Okay. Let's close it. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kaushachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu
Guru
Devo Maheshwara
Guru
Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Krishna Arpanamastu. Okay guys, see you tomorrow. See you next week.